Nerdrotic.com.
Hello, you beautiful, sexy audience. Oh, let's hear it one more time. I can hear you. You're fired up. It's Monday and nobody's at work. Although, do people go to work anymore? Well, I guess they do. But a lot of people work from home now. Happy Martin Luther King Day. It's Martin Luther King Day, right? The days bleed in to one another right now for me. Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Beekler. I come to you from Nerdrotic.com. I'm also here on YouTube. I have 3 channels. I've got Nerdrotic, Nerdrotic Live, and Nerdrotic Daily, which I run with Perry Chan, who was my editor, who was a part of Nerdrotic, along with Quarter Black Garrett, X-Ray Girl, and the lovely Mrs. Nerdrotic. We do not have a 67,000-foot studio. We don't have a team of writers to divide and conquer anything. It's just me and you. Let's do this, shall we? Today, we're going to talk about, people are still talking about it because there's more news. But I think I'll put this one to bed today. The G4 implosion. Lots of lessons to be learned. Lots of lessons to be learned from that. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of gaming because, quite frankly, Frosk knows more about gaming than I do. But she might need to learn a thing or two. G4 might need to learn a thing or two about fandom, something that they used to be connected to, something that fandom used to love, especially Attack of the Show was the one I watched. I didn't watch X-Play. So Adam Sussler is not somebody who I'm too familiar with, only his antics after G4. That's when I became familiar. But the art of fan blaming. And we'll go over the video. I got to pull it up, but we'll go over the video. It certainly looks like I've been going back and forth on this one, but I think it was planned. I do think it was planned. I don't know if I don't think it was planned by the higher ups. I think it was planned by some people in the show. They thought it would be a good idea. They'll get some write-ups in the right articles, Kotaku and all those other garbage tier websites, which kind of happened, but not as much as they thought it would. And what makes me believe that is the intro leading up to it when she was talking about Red Dead Redemption Online. Now that's a game I've played, Red Dead Redemption. I sucked at it, but I played it. I think it's an excellent game. Never played 2. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Fresh, piping hot, fake geek tears. The fuel of life. We're also going to talk about Batgirl and that Batgirl costume, a character I like quite a bit. And interesting, I didn't know this until yesterday, that the director of Batgirl, the one who went out, I guess made a comment about fandom on their Instagram, also directs an episode of Miss Marvel. Huh. Small world, isn't it? It's almost like, we went over those Hollywood new rules, which I plan to do. I'm saving some stuff for the real BBC tomorrow, okay? And we'll talk about that. But the Hollywood new rules are meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Certainly it's starting to look like meet the new year, same as the old year. I hope I'm wrong. I hope things are changing. I think there are going to be people who try. But they're going to be up against the entire industry and the other industry that kind of runs Hollywood, big tech. We will also discuss, I'm trying to remember what was in my title now. Oh, so we got the DCEU. We got Marvel Interrupted with the reshoots. The Moon Knight trailer's coming out tonight. We'll discuss that a little bit. I don't know what else there's to discuss. I like the character quite a bit. I don't have a lot of faith that Disney Marvel will be able to adapt him properly, but that'd be great if he did. If we had a good Moon Knight show to cover, I'd be very happy. We can also talk about Peacemaker. I watched. I couldn't get through all 3 episodes. That's a spoiler of what I think about it. I could not get through all 3 episodes. I had the time. I just stopped after the second one, and I'm like, I'll get the third one later. And Yeah. Not James Gunn's best work. We'll just say that. Joss Whedon is in the news. We'll discuss that a little bit, but again, that's one of those things I'm going to save when Mahler is on the show tomorrow. And reminder, Real BBC will be on this channel tomorrow and then Az's channel for 2 weeks because it's his birthday next week. Happy early birthday to baby boy Az. I think he's like 20-something. I mean, obviously, Az is on FNT. He's our bangable host on FNT. Well, now we've got a ton of bangable hosts. We got Peach Fuzz Jeremy. We got Ragin' Ryan. We got cute little Hobbit comics division. We have Pious Odin. And yeah, those two chicks, X-Ray Girl and Chrissy Mayer. Chrissy Mayer! Holy shit, did she kill it last Friday on Friday Night Tights. And it was such a good decision to bring her on the show permanently. And I'll talk about that a little bit. I mean, some of it was private, but I'll talk about that a little bit. But that was, I'm still getting emails. People loved it. They were laughing their ass off. And I pointed it out to the guys and gals last night that show, the like to dislike ratio, and maybe that's got something to do with the dislikes not being around anymore, but is 99.1%. That means 99.1% people liked it who did press that button, as opposed to the less than 1% that didn't. And that is a record for Friday Night Tights. And it was also a non-Alex Jones record. We have 12,481 people watching peak concurrent. It's doing very well. Thank you very much. That's all thanks to you, because you guys are a huge part of the show. That's why I don't like taking the chat out and leaving it up, because I don't think it's the same show without that chat chiming in. Sometimes you have your own show going on, which is fun, which is good fun. But I guess we'll start out, and we're going to talk about Peacemaker tomorrow as well. We'll get into spoilers. I'll do spoiler-free as people are getting in. We'll talk about Peacemaker, and then we'll get into G4, and then Batman and stuff. Also, I had a conversation with a very short one with Quarter Black, and we are in the planning stages of planning. The Nerdrotic Nooner will be back in a big way, regularly scheduled at a certain time. It'll probably, I have no idea what the starting date is because I'm still packing. But it's looking like mid to late February. We'll start this schedule. We'll let you know what it is. We'll make a big announcement. And we're going to do, there's still going to be like a solo stream for sure. And then I'm going to have a co-host for one. We're going to do them multiple times a week, 2 to 3 times. We haven't decided yet. We still have the Real BBC and Friday Night Tights, but it's looking like there's going to be live shows Monday through Friday. Also, a quick reminder, the Super Chat and Donation Square Up will be tonight. So I will be back live tonight on Nerdrotic Live around 9:30 p.m. Pacific time to square up some Super Chats and donations. So thank you for your patience on that one. I have a new computer hooked up, but we're not using it for this show. Finally. It's been sitting in a box for like a month, and I finally had time to hook it up. I recorded a little bit yesterday, watched a lot of YouTube. I watched a little Daredevil. I've just been watching Daredevil on a loop lately. And I watched an episode of Doctor Who. Oh, yeah. How could I forget? How could I forget to put this in the title? The BBC in 2027 is abolishing the license fee. Now, if that happens, that's a long time from now. We'll see if it happens. But it looks like the BBC has been defunded. It will be abolished. Their funding will be frozen. I think it will happen in a certain sense. They're going to have to compete against streamers, and they're in big trouble. And I think Top Gear, I guess it still does good, but it doesn't do good over here. Like Top Gear was must watch for a lot of people over here in the States, including yours truly. So the toppling of Top Gear and the destruction of Doctor Who, I'm sure, played a giant part in that. And, of course, your news, which I used to go to, by the way, to get, like, honest, in the middle, like, proper news many years ago, just went crazy. Went crazy with the TDS. That ruined a lot of industries. It still is. Still is. Okay, Peacemaker. We'll start with Peacemaker. I liked the Suicide Squad. I still like the Suicide Squad. I thought that movie was fun. It had a lot of heart. I liked the characters. I even liked Starro. Peter Capaldi was great. I thought it was a lot of fun because, again, it had heart. The characters, even Ratcatcher 2 was a huge surprise. Idris Elba, I like Idris Elba. I do. I like Luther. I think he's a good actor. He's great in The Losers. I think he's a good actor. I would have loved to have seen him play the Doctor. I know it's a meme now. It's like, oh, who's going to be this character? Idris Elba, you know. Who's going to play Rosa Parks in the Rosa Parks story? Idris Elba. But I thought it was pretty good. I still maintain one of the best characters in the Suicide Squad they killed with Rick Flag, Joel Kinnaman. But that's neither here nor there. And I didn't mind John Cena. I'm so sorry. By the way, Taiwan's a country. Taiwan is a country. Taiwan is a country. Taiwan is a country. I thought he was okay. I thought he was good. In small doses. But so now we have an entire series of edgelord. God, I wish I could find it because your boy Zach put in his comment section a great, this is the first time I think I can remember that I agreed with your boy Zach on a TV show. Okay. Let's go to, oh boy, Comics Matter. God, I hate that. Diversity in comics, dude. Put it back. Where's his community section? Here it goes. This is good. This is good. This is why I liked Zach. This is why I tuned into Zach back in 2017, 2016. I made it 19 minutes. I made it 19 minutes and 4 seconds into the time capsule of everything that hipsters thought was funny, edgy in 2008. And he says making the black woman a lesbian was a bold decision, truly groundbreaking. I certainly believe, yes, it is hipster edgelord comedy. And usually, I like some of that stuff. Okay. Unapologetically. I love The Tick. I love Venture Brothers. I like the Boys comic. I get it because what was behind, especially the Venture Brothers and, I guess The Tick is the top, is there was still love for the thing they were doing a parody of, right? So Ben Edlund loves comic books. Ben Edlund's a great writer. The guys over at Venture Brothers, they still love that stuff. Garth Ennis, not so much. Derek Robertson does, but Garth Ennis hates superheroes. But it still had a tongue-in-cheekness that was good, and it was good for its time. Does it play well now? No. I think the hero has been deconstructed and deconstructed and deconstructed, and now the hero is dust, and we have a lot of people in Hollywood who have no idea what a hero is. They don't know what it means to be a hero. Well, actually, what they think it means to be a hero is to change their avatar to support cause of the weak and treat what they call marginalized people like children who need help from the much smarter white leftists. Tim Pool was interviewing a reporter who went from being totally woke and kind of woke up. And she brought up, maybe we'll do that on the Real BBC. She talked about a Harvard study from 2018 that had hilarious results. It studied what two political sides, how they talk to, we'll just say people of color. I'll use their term. I hate it though. And it turns out that a lot of elite leftist Democrats treat them like children, like I just said. Now, it's a Harvard study. There's a lot of studies. It's interesting it came out of Harvard, but I'm going to go over that and see if that, how much, how true that is. Again, I'm just passing on an anecdotal story told from somebody on Tim Pool, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. So Peacemaker. Yeah, I think there's a lot of triple latte stains on the scripts. I think there was some humor that was funny. I think John Cena is probably the best thing in it. But the humor lands, we talked about it on Friday Night Tights. I would say it's a fair assessment, 40%. I would say a little less than that, probably like 30% of the time, which isn't good. The rest of the time, it's absolute cringe. I can't stand his crew at all. Yes, they introduced the black lesbian. She's there. I don't think she's particularly any worse than any other crew member. I don't think she's particularly spectacular because even James Gunn, they're afraid to write them with any complexity. James Gunn tries a couple of times, and there is a chuckle one or two times. And, of course, they have Vigilante, and they make him a joke. And I think it reminds me a lot of Super in a lot of ways. And it just wasn't funny. And usually that stuff is right up my alley. And I don't mind that stuff at all. I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying this. I don't think the Snyder Cut fans are going to like this. It's just, I don't know. Just a thought. Just a thought. I could be wrong. So, of course, he survived the Suicide Squad, and you saw that in the trailers. I would say it does try to do a little bit of Ash versus Evil Dead. It does definitely call back to The Boys. But The Boys isn't even that great. Honestly, I didn't like season 2. So I've seen people calling this, I'm not kidding, an absolute triumph. Somebody has already called this an absolute triumph. Same person called it the best DC thing they've ever done in television. I wholeheartedly disagree. As somebody who likes the Snyder Cut and the Suicide Squad, and as far as the DCEU, I don't hate it. Some people just hate it. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good cinema, but I own all the Blu-rays, and because I'm a superhero fan, that I like those little moments. Seeing Deadshot on screen, even though it's Will Smith. Seeing Batman in a pretty decent costume. And this will lead into a further discussion of what I was originally going to title this live stream, but I wanted to save it for a video. Warner Brothers is dumb as fuck. Warner Brothers is dumb as fuck. And I know the Joss Whedon's in the news, and Ray Fisher popped up again, and I think they're all a bunch of freaking idiots. The one thing I will defend Jeff Johns on, I don't know Jeff Johns. I know a lot of Snyder Cut fans don't like Jeff Johns. I don't know everything he said. I don't know everything he did, so I can't speak to a lot of it. But I do know that Jeff Johns knows every single DC character better than anybody at Warner Brothers and any freaking actor who works there. That's the one thing I do know. I don't think there's many people on this planet who know more about DC than Jeff Johns. Apparently, he has an autistic level encyclopedic knowledge of the DC universe. That's really freaking impressive. And I've always said he's best at comics. I never thought he was much in Hollywood. So I guess he's going back to comics, and that's probably good for him. Hollywood's probably not for him. Hey, Hollywood wasn't for me. Hollywood wasn't for me. And I wasn't on the executive level. I was in the McDonald's level of Hollywood. So Peacemaker overall, yeah, it could get better. It's only 3 episodes. They dropped 3 episodes at once. Then they're going to do weekly, which I think is the smartest move to do. But it doesn't seem like tons of people are talking about it. I didn't notice it. It trended on Twitter, but it was sponsored. So I don't know, how many people were actually discussing it at all. Considering that the movie didn't do that well in the box office, and I don't think many people were talking about the movie outside of just superhero fans, but like normies weren't getting into it at all. As far as James Gunn is concerned, a complete twat on Twitter, obviously, but I think he's one of the better filmmakers, but he seems to have lost it, and I wouldn't hold out any hope for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 at this point. I just wouldn't. I think when we discussed that new rules of Hollywood, I think TDS poisoned a lot of people's creativity. And there's also this underlying fear in Hollywood. And this is something I do get emails on from people who actually work there, of course, want to remain anonymous. One of these days, I'll get one of them on the damn show. I'll try. It'll probably be after they get fired. But people are just scared to death to speak out against the machine. The new boss, which is same as the old boss. People were scared to death to come up against the Harvey Weinsteins and the people who are still there. They're scared to death to come up against Jar Jar Abrams, although he comes off as this really sweet guy. Let me tell you something. Kevin Feige looks like Opie. They look like, gosh golly, friendly people. Nobody rises that high in Hollywood being a good dude. The system isn't set up like that. It just ain't set up like that. There are some good people there, and usually they stay on the creative side. They don't become executives. All right, so there is the Peacemaker it's kind of a science fiction story. It moves along like a typical streaming show, and a typical streaming show now is let's draw on our overarching mystery way too long. So they're after something alien. I'll just say that. And you don't really find out until the 3rd episode. And I don't even know how long this is. I don't know if it's 18 or 13 episodes. That's pretty far into the first season. A little too far in. Of course, there's a bad dad. Robert Patrick plays a white supremacist. Yeah, that's right. White supremacy is once again in something from Hollywood with superheroes in it. It will be in The Boys. It will be discussed in Batgirl. It will be probably discussed in Moon Knight. It'll definitely be in Ms. Marvel. I don't know. I'm just guessing. This is all speculation. They really, for one, these are the only bad guys Hollywood feels safe to portray right now. And, it's low-hanging fruit. It's there. It really supports their narrative, though, that this is a white supremacist country when they only really exist in prison. But that's at least where these were. He was in jail. He's also supposed to be a dumb, racist, redneck super genius who can, make all the helmets and everything. And he's terrible. He's terrible. And we're supposed to feel sorry for Chris, John Cena, his character Peacemaker. And this whole plot, there's an alien plot, but it's really a character study about probably bad dads and abuse and freaking toxic masculinity. That's kind of what it's feeling like right now. It's a study in yes, kind of what it's feeling. That's what it is. It is a study in toxic masculinity because the other characters in there are constantly bringing stuff like that up, anecdotally. It's the kind of show written for people who hang out in coffee shops in Austin, San Francisco, and Silver Lake. And the kind of people who thought the Silver Sun Pickups were going to be the next Beatles. Listen to bands like Naked and the Famous. I'm trapped in 2010. That was the last time I was like really hanging out with anybody who was hipsters when I was in Burbank working there. If you don't know, Silver Lake is hipster town in LA. I don't know what's hipster town in New York. Is it Brooklyn now? Did that get gentrified? It's hipster town. Hipster town here in San Diego is Hillcrest and Noe Valley in San Francisco. That's where the whole damn city is hipsters. Let's be real. I know I've been accused of it too, just because I like avocado. Avocado's the food of the gods. It makes guacamole, okay? Get off my back, man. Or the pineapple pizza thing, which is a war raging on Twitter right now, which I will re-engage when I get done with this live stream. Jeremy has publicly pussed out of the Friday Night Tights because he can't handle a man with grown-ass man taste buds. My taste buds have evolved past the kiddie menu. Little pineapple, jalapenos, buffalo sauce, all over that motherfucker. Oh, it's good. All right. Now, yeah, Peacemaker sucks. I didn't like it. But if you like it, that's fine. It's okay if you liked it. We can still be friends. You could disagree with me. It's okay. I won't be heartbroken or butthurt or anything like that. But yeah. I wasn't impressed by the trailer, but I was holding out hope. I'm like, all right, I'll try to have a little faith in James Gunn. James Gunn. Yeah, I think the James Gunn of 2014 would have, even though I like the Suicide Squad, I think it would have been a better film back then. As I think everything would be better back then. And we're just in the waning years of Hollywood making scripted entertainment. And maybe it shifts. Maybe South Korea becomes the place. Maybe independent places start popping up and that starts doing it, but Hollywood, has all the power, has all the money, has all the infrastructure right now, but we're in the declining years. It has peaked. And Spider-Man No Way Home is definitely an anomaly. It was a good anomaly. I liked it. Still a gimmick. It's still a gimmick. What Hollywood needs is another Star Wars, which you can't have. And an original story that captures the imagination of an entire country, the entire world. Instead, they needed to go back to characters from 20 years ago because they're clearly more popular than anything Marvel has pumped out this year. The popularity of Shang-Chi, The Eternals, I'll even throw in WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, everything they put out this year, including the Black Widow, which has everything to do with her being dead, does not measure up to the popularity of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man right now. And his movies sucked, especially the second one. But everybody loves Andrew now. I think he did great. I thought he did great. He was really good. I've always thought he was a good actor. I will re-embark on the Peacemaker. And again, we'll get into details and spoilers tomorrow on The Real BBC. Be sure to tune in then when Mahler and Az will be there and Nina Infinity. Did a podcast with her last night discussing the final episode of The Expanse. The Expanse has a lot to do with this channel being here. I was, part of the Saving the Expanse thing. I was really behind it. I'm very disappointed how it turned out. I got a lot of people into that show, and I know a lot of people were happy with the end. I wasn't, because the biggest question, like where the proto-molecule came from, where the first level my channel's named after, I'm going to have to change it now. We don't know where it came from. If you just watch the show, they never answered the question. They didn't have time. And I think they're holding out a hope that the fans are going to save their show again. Nope, you can save your own show. You do it this time. And like if Amazon, the $1 trillion company, is going to give it up, I don't think anybody's going to come back to it. Okay. I'm going to read some super chats, and we're going to get into G4. G4. And a reminder, Super Chat Square Up will be on Nerdrotic Live, 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. And I just, I thought of this morning. Like, I'm changing time zones. I've lived in the Pacific time zone my entire life, all 52 years. This is going to take, it's going to be weird. So the Nooner is going to actually be, it'll actually be noon Central Time now. It'll be 10 a.m. Pacific Time. That's what we're planning for. 37p for $5 says, I sympathize with all of you. Sick of how this industry was ruined. Check out 37p.org for something different being done with comics. I have not checked that out, but if you want to check it out, it's 37p.org. Thank you for the $5. And that was on the donation side. Manowar 665, the neighbor of the beast, says, won't hold my breath for Moon Knight. Don't really enjoy face planting the floor. I don't either. So you know what I did, Manowar 665? I just read the comic books, and God, they're good. I was so happy. I bagged in boredom, if you remembered, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Moon Knight's a great character that Marvel has never figured out. They'll bring him back once in a while. Coolest damn costume. But a little bit of a difficult background with the multiple personality thing, I don't know if you'd want to refine that. And I think Oscar Isaacs is a good choice. I think it's very well cast on that one. I think the guy's a good actor. But it's going to be PG. Like this one needs to be, Moon Knight needs to be for adults. And yes, more adults are into superheroes than kids. Yeah, people just need to face that. The comic book industry at least understood that for a little while. Despite all of their efforts, the vast majority of comic book readers and graphic novel readers are men. What women read are the YA stuff, which they have conflated in. And younger girls read the kiddie book stuff that Scholastic has mixed in. There is a pretty large contingent of female manga readers, for sure. I can certainly attest to that when it was Borders Books, used to be near my comic store, and the manga section would just be tore up, and it was a bunch of Asian girls sitting around reading manga all day from San Francisco State. And then they wouldn't put the books back. It was always a mess. They were always complaining about it. This is from a couple of days ago, but it came in like last minute. So I'm going to read it now. David McDaniel, for $100 on the donation side, said, you've got a beautiful light. You got a beautiful light. That came in last minute, I believe, on Friday Night Tights. Was it Friday Night Tights? I think so. Friday Night Tights was crazy. It was crazy. We got past 10,000 likes. It's up to like 15 or 16,000 now. Then we're going to go over to the super chat side, and we got Olivia Munn for Friday Night Tights is Captain Robert April for $2. Hell yeah. Here's the problem. There's a little bit of problem with Olivia Munn. She is part of the Hollywood machine. I don't know if you guys have seen or heard from her lately. I mean, the last time I really checked in on her when she was Psylocke, and she looked great as Psylocke. She looked like Psylocke. I was like, damn, they got that costume right. Boy, it was a bad movie though. Yeah, it kind of looks like she's, gone to Bohemian Grove and made the sacrifice to Moloch and just became part of the machine in Hollywood. I say that in jest slightly. And yeah, but I bring her. See, what made her cool, whether it was genuine or not, and I've heard that it's not, she was fun. She had a good sense of humor, and that's what made her extra hot. You could roll out any 10. You throw a rock up in the air, it's going to land, hopefully not hard, on a 10 in Hollywood. There is plenty of 10s in Hollywood, but what she had was, at least it looked like she had personality and a really good self-deprecating and really, really secure sense of humor. Like, I know I'm being totally sexualized right now, what the fuck ever. Which is, that's when we will be healthy as a society, when we can all get there. When we can all get there and just like pull the collective stick out of our asses and realize, you can kind of joke about anything else. And, everybody's got their line, but really just relax. Just fucking relax. Especially when it comes to canceling people all the time. But sure, she would never come on, but I would have her on. John Bartolo. That makes your first mistake. You should have done my podcast. I'm still going to do your podcast. I'm not gone yet. John, by the way, hail John Bartolo, and thank you for letting us use your studio in Vegas. Let me know what you're doing in February. I'll come over to Vegas early February if you got availability. I don't know how you're booked, but I'll have X-Ray Girl sort of my schedule, which is pretty open until then. But I can drive over to Vegas in a day. I'd love to do your podcast. And go check out the John Bartolo podcast. It's on Spotify, all the tunes and all the things. It's very, very good. We love John Bartolo. Hail John Bartolo. If Gigante Man bad gets bad back in office in 2024, how much worse would the TDS be? Would it be worse than if he won in 2020? I don't know how much worse it can get. Maybe I'm just lacking imagination. Oh, it can always get worse. Famous last words is how much worse could it get? It can always get worse. But what we need to do as the general audience, the ones who practice common sense, the majority of us who just want to go to work, come home, enjoy a movie, get actual news. This whole opinionated news things, it's more than run its course. It's a 20th century model that's dying this slow death that just needs to die at this point. We need to reassert our power. I think we became, in a lot of ways, imprisoned by our conveniences. And I say our. I include myself. I'm not above or outside of this. I did the same thing. Look at California. They vote in the same motherfuckers all the time. Nancy Pelosi, still in office. Like Barbara Boxer was a freaking senator forever. Dianne Feinstein, senator forever. The mayors are the same effing mayors. San Diego just voted in a complete, like this, we have a simpleton for a mayor. It's a complete dumb shit. Don't know how the guy got in the office, but he did. Probably all the fucking stoners in PB and all the fucking LA transplants who came down here and fucked up our city. It's the same party for 40 years, and the state is in disarray. But somehow it's still the Republicans' fault. I mean, when are you gonna fucking realize and wake up? You're being bullshitted. You've been bullshitted for decades. But as long as I'm surrounded by people who are going, let's just vote in the same party all the time and expect different results, decade after decade, I'm fucking, you're on your own. Hollywood is now about self-pity, says E.M. Peter Davison for $10 Australian. It is about victimization. Yes, it is. A victimization is currency in Hollywood, and that's a way to deflect from criticism of oneself or one's project. When somebody comes out and Frosk came out and said she's got a bit of a personality disorder a couple of years ago. And you know what? Hey, you have my sympathy. What have you done to get it treated? It doesn't excuse you from being an asshole. Being bipolar doesn't excuse you from being an asshole. It doesn't. Me being a recovering alcoholic doesn't excuse me from being an asshole, because once I'm aware of it, it's on me as an adult to try to fix it. People go, there's nothing wrong. No, if you're running around being an asshole, then there's something wrong. And yeah, it might be chemically something wrong with your brain. There are lots of places that are free that you can go and attempt to work on it. You're never going to fix it. Okay. I'm like, my alcoholism is never going to be fixed. But if I start drinking or doing drugs, I'm going to be the biggest asshole alive. Whose fault is that? It's mine. Yeah, it sucks. I was born with bad brain chemistry, but now that I am aware of that, and I know that if I pick up a drink or some drugs, I'm going to fucking be robbing and stealing and be knee deep in hookers with fucking coke and like hurting my wife and my kids and stuff. That's still my fault. It's still my fault. Yeah. It doesn't excuse attacking fans, building a straw man, and we'll get to that. And it's all about insecurity. It's also about publicity. DC all the way for $2 says Jeff Johns destroyed the DCEU. He only wants his stories. Yeah, I think his flaw was like he wasn't really, because he has so much encyclopedic knowledge and he went to Hollywood. It was probably like, I'm only going to accept. I don't know how much he was willing to share ideas. That's something that can be a big problem. Like, it's great to have an encyclopedic knowledge of DC, but there's also, you need to work with people. That's true. When it comes, it's Warner Brothers' fault. I mean, if you want to blame somebody, it's Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is fucking dumb. They're just dumb. Look at them now. From the town that brought you not putting Han, Luke, and Leia in a scene together comes the new DCEU without Batman and Superman. Oh, that's going to suck. And you want to know why? Because the powers that be, the Toby Emmerichs, who's a POS of the world, they actually believe that Batman and Superman failed and Justice League failed because of the white leads. You heard me right. They think people are sick of white male leads. We're talking about Superman and Batman. I don't know about the white male leads thing. Not everything has to have a white male lead. I don't care. But when it comes to, I'm talking specifically about Superman and Batman. Those are two white characters. Superman's Clark Kent. Batman's Bruce Wayne. Those are what drive your entire comic book company that sell your T-shirts. They are the two biggest characters. Batman changes place with Spider-Man as being the biggest character in the world, and you're just going to remove him, or you're going to have him as nostalgia bait. You're going to have a 65-year-old Michael Keaton handing over his keys to Batgirl, who ain't even Batgirl, okay? I'm just going to come out and say it. Barbara Gordon. She don't look like Barbara Gordon. Well, they made her hair red, so what? Doesn't look anything like the character. There's plenty of characters you can adapt that can be inclusive and diverse and build them up and make them something they never were in the comic books. Or, I don't know, is there any law against making new characters? What it is it's tokenism. What it is laziness. It's derivative characters. And we're talking like third, fourth, fifth, sixth generation derivative characters. For fuck's sake, make a new character. How many classic characters have been made in the last 2 decades? Sure, there's been some X-Men, but we're talking about top tier characters. Not many. How is it that Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, the Hulk have lasted this long and have been this popular and nobody could think of a better character? Like nobody, huh? It just got fewer and fewer characters as time goes on. Maybe because it's not that easy to just come up with a character that everybody's going to love. And that's what makes it just perplexing, that you've got all these great characters that people love that they're just not willing to roll out. But Hollywood doesn't know how. I mean, it's clear that they don't understand fandom. In my opinion, the golden rule for content creation is to never attack your fans and to respect your fans. Also, good luck on the move to Texas. Cool video 101 for $5. Yes, and let's talk about that. Let's talk about G4, and we'll get back into the Batman DC because I am not done with that. I am not. I'm going to make a video on it too because I love DC. I fucking love Superman and Batman and Batgirl. I love Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, Yvonne Craig. Like, that's when I knew I was straight. When I was like, well, I didn't even know what that was. But I saw Yvonne Craig on a Batman show when I was like 6, and I'm all, what's that? And all of a sudden, I forgot all about Batman and Robin. I'm like, what's that? It's beautiful. It's like an angel. And it was Yvonne Craig, who I got to meet. Got a little kiss in the cheek from Yvonne Craig. I saw stars. I did. One of the hottest women who ever lived, and very nice lady. Very, very nice lady. Good sense of humor. And may she rest in peace. Gone too soon. Okay, so G4. Everybody knows what they did. They went out and either planned or didn't plan, I don't know, spurred on their audience. Oh my God. Ryan's going to be so happy. Alec Baldwin's back in the news. I know this story's getting old. So we will, this is probably the last day, unless we talk about it tomorrow a little bit. Okay, so as you know, like Chrissy Mayer again, I think that's kind of internet history. I mean, I think it's right up there with the Filoniing for Friday Night Tights. What she did, she didn't break character like the whole fucking show. And it was fucking great. Almost the whole show. That's a long time, by the way. And her impression was beautiful, beautiful. So G4 comes out and strawmans their fans. Yes, they called everybody sexist, and here's the art of fan blaming. Here's what happens. Content creator, director, artist, writer, not feeling too good about what they're covering, writing, something's going on. Instead of taking that advice from Michael Jackson, not that advice, the other advice, looking at that man or woman or they, them in the mirror and going, maybe it's me. Somebody decides to take a couple of comments. I'm sure they're there. Although It's a Gundam did the best video on this, by the way. And he said he did his due diligence and he couldn't find anything. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that a couple of comments were in there going, you're not as bangable as Olivia Munn, or Olivia Munn is hotter than you. For one, welcome to the fucking internet. You're also ignoring the 20,000 Slay Queen things you got in the chat. And you're also using those two to conflate it with legitimate criticism, because nobody wants to accept legitimate criticism anymore. It's always a hater or this or that. So they conflate, they build a straw man. And what happens is unintended consequences. These unintended consequences are insulting large portions of your fandom. Now, some of this criticism might have come from tweets they put up a year prior saying they don't want Trump supporters of our former president, as fans. Potentially 73 million Americans. That's just the ones who voted. There's a lot of people who supported him who just never got around to voting. That's the way it is. So I'm guessing it's more than that. We'll say almost half the country. Telling almost half the country you don't want them as fans. Out the gate. And then Adam Sussler essentially saying the same thing over and over again, saying that Republicans drink piss. And then they're wondering why their G4 channel that millions were put into this. Millions. 67,000 square foot studio. That's fucking massive. It's huge. Used to be TMZ studio. Used to be Inside Edition studio. They're building an esports stadium. This is all supposed to be around some esports. I don't know shit about esports. I know, I think people like Robert Barnes like them. Hail Robert Barnes, by the way. I think it's great. I think it's great to have a stadium. I think it's great to make money. I love capitalism. You go do it. Best way to start your business, though, is try to get as many customers as possible and not alienate any of them. I mean, you're gonna. Incidentally, it's going to happen. Can't avoid it. But always be willing to, talk to a customer, talk it through. I had to, like if I had opened a comic shop when I got out of prison, I'd have been the worst I'd have been terrible because anybody who I felt disrespected me, I would have probably wanted to fight. So it was a good thing I waited decades to open a comic store, and I learned how to practice restraint, and I had people saying all kinds of crazy shit, and I had to talk them down. I had to talk them down for the other customers, for my employees, for my kids and being in there. I had to just be the adult when I wanted to just, but you know what? That's part of being an adult, and it worked. And once I saw that success, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm going to do that all the time. I'm just going to charm the shit out of them. It's the best way to do it. You don't do it. You don't insult them. You don't talk down to them. Just be nice. Just be nice, be understanding and nice, and it works fucking 99% of the time. What she did was she was talking about Red Dead Redemption, and prior to her little spurg, she talked about Red Dead Online wanting to get a bunch of publicity to possibly save it. So I thought it was interesting that she segued right from talking about getting publicity for something to this. So like this is going to take a minute, but let's take it from the top. I know like we're not going to watch the whole thing. Don't worry. Shit. Hang on. I need to put this coming through the speakers.
So when this originally happened and my gaming grievance was actually going to be about Red Dead Online. So the subreddit for Red Dead Online, I'm a huge Red Dead Online player. I love Red Dead Redemption 2. I think it's probably my favorite game of all time. And right now, the Red Dead Online community are trying to get this hashtag going called Save Red Dead Online. And they've got it covered by Kotaku, Polygon, Game Rants, like Forbes, I think, also did a coverage of it. And they think that this will get Rockstar's attention and Rockstar will come back to them and give them exactly what they want. And we can actually scroll this down.
Okay, so you talked about Forbes, Polygon, Kotaku getting attention for a movement for Red Dead Online.
I'll tell you when to stop scrolling. Good. Stop right there. But I'm here to tell you, and you're going to have to cut this B-roll in a second, because it's done. And what I do think that there is a larger discussion about Red Dead Online and that we need to have eventually about game design versus immersive experience and comparing the Red Dead Online multiplayer experience versus the solo player one. But I actually want to talk about something so much more important than Red Dead Online.
So that's a pretty rough transition. Not that I'm very good at them, because we'll be talking about like getting cornholed, and then I'll talk to you about Nerdrotic Blend coffee from Geek Grind, which we'll talk about in just a second.
Sexism in gaming. In joining G4...
Yeah! Woo! I love sexism in gaming.
This is not where I thought we were going, but I'm here.
Oh my God, yeah. God, this fucking ad keeps putting up. Look at his face. Hang on.
No idea.
I'm listening. Yeah.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
In joining G4, I was ecstatic to be part of something that I grew up watching as a child. But every time G4 is brought up in various channels, even in this YouTube channel, we have the chat in front of us. I can see you. Without a doubt, there will be backlash because I'm not as bangable as the previous host. It's somehow...
Talk to him, Frost!
Talk to him, Frost! And Jeremy brought this up. Everybody brought this up. That guy masturbated about somebody 2 hours before this show started. And so did the other guy. And she probably flicked her bean too. Shut up. Talk to him, Frost. If I ever brought up G4 while I was talking on a live stream, or if anybody else did, what's the first thing you think of? Is it Kevin Herrera? No. It's bubbly, bouncy, usually jumping into a pie, Olivia Munn. So I don't know what they expected to accomplish with this. And this shit happens every time. We just went through this with fucking Kevin Smith. And like I said, this shit happens like 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. It's always fucking something. Kevin Smith comes out and then you know what? We get the usual, don't bring attention to it because it just helps them. And I'm like, not when they fuck up this much. Not when you go directly against the internet. Because the internet, usually collectively, when they smell blood in the water, this is the one thing that will unite them. They will just come pouncing on you. And like, yeah. Oh, I'm sure she's getting the comments now. And you don't help your cause by pissing and moaning and whining. We always hear about strong women. Strong women. Strong women. You know what strength is? Restraint. Doing this. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? It's the fucking internet. And there's tons of women who ignore that shit all the time. And yes, women get like fucking dick pics and all that shit. They get them. They do. I wouldn't recommend ever sending one of those things because it will end up online and you will be embarrassed and you'll be like, hey, it was cold. I just got out of the bath. Yeah, whatever, dude. Whatever, dude. Like I said, you don't get to write your own legacy. Life will do it for you. Don't send dick pics. Don't do it. But broadly generalizing your audience, building a straw man, yes, you have the unintended consequence of annoying, offending people you had no intention of it, like who aren't sexist, who are just there to watch video games. They're a shared audience. It's what Jack Murphy calls, no, not that, the mutuals. The mutuals. You know what? People subscribe to John Campia, who subscribe here. People subscribe to G4, that subscribe here. Now, I didn't subscribe to G4. I heard they were coming back through Chris Gore, who's an acquaintance. I think we're becoming friends, but you know, right now, acquaintance. You know, I don't talk to him every day. We talked a few times. He's guested on the show, so acquaintance. But out of loyalty to the guy that I liked, who apparently wasn't even asked to be on the show, I was like, I don't give a shit. It just doesn't sound like, it sounds like a cheap move. And it wasn't a cheap move. It was a very expensive move, and it's costing them. Now, there's a rumor out there that the higher-ups are pissed. I would be, because this is fucking, I mean, your operation was floundering anyway. I guess they get better views on Twitch than they do on YouTube. But they should be killing me on YouTube. And Ryan got more views than they did last Sunday when he had 3,000 people watching, which was great with Chris Gore on. No, there's no excuse for this. But again, it's the same thing than Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith coming out and lying. So what you're doing is you are betraying the thing you were supposed to be about. G4 was supposed to be about nerds. This is the shit you are supposed to understand. You're supposed to understand that the internet is not a place for the weak. Sorry, it's tough and or sensitive, and it's okay. It's okay if you can't handle it. I mean, if you start losing sleep, if content creation or getting on Twitter is making you lose sleep at night, just stop. Turn it off. It's okay. Doesn't mean you're less of a human being or anything. It means you just don't want to see that shit. It's cool. But don't keep coming back and back to it and letting it just get to you like that, because that is poison. That is poison on the soul. Remember, I mean, to me, anyway, there's stuff I take seriously and there's stuff I don't. And you just got to balance it out. But she's young. She's young. This probably is her, like her internet success, her recent internet. I don't know how long she's been around. This might be the only success she knows. She left some League of Legends place talking a lot of shit, which is just stupid. I know people do that now. Don't ever, ever, ever talk shit, burn bridges if you want to ever be back in any industry again. Ray Fisher. There's going to be a bunch of people going, "You're right, Ray. Jeff Johns is racist. You're right, Ray. Accountability over entertainment." And they're gonna pat you on the back and say thumbs up and never hire you again. Because they'll go, "Yeah, the fucking Ray Fisher guy, he's a snitch. He'll fucking stab us in the back. Can't trust him. But I'm really glad you did that, Ray. Good job, buddy. Good job." He's also petty as fuck. Have fun in, some basic cable show as a guest star. And you know what? He was fine in the Snyder Cut. I thought he was fine. But I digress.
It has somehow been expected that you can talk about how much you jerked off to women as a compliment. It's not a compliment.
It's weird. It's weird. Jacked off that morning. As a matter of fact, he jacked off this morning, and he's going to jack off tonight. And he's probably jacked off in the bathroom at G4.
It's dehumanizing, and it's weird. Women do not exist to be nice on the eyes for you. More
technically, yes, they do. I mean, I'm no anthropologist. I just know that when we were just running around in caves, and all we were doing was fucking and eating and surviving and dying at a very early age, it was procreation that kept us around. And what leads to procreation? I'm sorry, it's the internet. I need to state the obvious. Attraction.
Morgan Webb, Olivia Munn did not exist.
I know, it's very radical. Very radical statements I'm making.
To be nice on the eyes for you.
Yes, she does. And she was really good. But she was also funny. Morgan was hot. I didn't watch X-Play, so I can only talk about Olivia. Olivia was funny. She chowed down. She raw dogged a hot dog. Everybody showed that. I remember watching. I was watching. Everybody was talking about it in the comic shop. Everybody was talking about Olivia Munn. I got to follow Olivia Munn across Harbor Boulevard walking towards the gas lamp with the director of Fanboys, and we were talking, and then we just stopped talking because we understood the moment. It's like moments like this just never come up. So I had my sunglasses on so I could, play it cool. I was looking at her ass. Yeah, I was married at the time. I wasn't gonna date her. Wasn't gonna ask her out. I mean, I would have been rejected soundly. But it's called being a man. I wasn't gonna do anything. I wasn't gonna touch it. I wasn't gonna go talk to her. I wasn't gonna grab it. It was just like right there. Slave Girl Leia, by the way. Slave Girl Leia, Olivia Munn. I'm not going to apologize for being a dude.
Hey, she cooking, y'all.
She cooking, y'all. You sound like such a dipshit, dude. Whoever you are. I guess the guy on the left is some respected YouTuber. I don't know him. The completionist? I don't know him. I don't know this guy. I barely know this guy. I only know her from this.
And that's just obvious sexism. You don't need to explicitly objectify women or declare that you hate women to be sexist. Just go ahead and check out Thorne's latest meltdown on
No.
Twitter for some spark notes. Now, here are
See, that's scripted. That is reading off a teleprompter. That is reading off a teleprompter right there. If you want to know what nobody says that naturally, okay? Nobody says this naturally.
Sexist. Just go ahead and check out Thorne's latest meltdown on Twitter for some spark notes. Now, here at XPlay, our reviews are written and produced by a team of people. There are too many games.
So somebody wrote this. Somebody wrote this that's coming up.
For one person to shoulder the burden. So we divide and conquer. And when we use language like we or I, that's the reviewer. That's coming from the mouth and experience of the reviewer reading that review. And that's not to say that Gerard, TBH, Adam, or myself.
He just you fucking outed me. So what she was saying is when she's reading it, she is very experienced at reading it. And she only reads part of the review, and the part of the review that she read of the game that she didn't play that was written by a team, a fucking team. She's saying the criticism she gets is more than the other two guys who she later says still get criticism because she's a woman. That is, lens crafters. My glasses are ready, and I'll call them later. That is being a giant pussy. Sorry, girls can be pussies too. Yeah, you're just being weak. That's it. Who cares what people say? I've been compared to a serial killer for my movie criticism. I don't give a shit. I don't care. It's stupid. It's a true story. True story. Oh, my God. But yes, team of writers divide and conquer.
Don't contribute to the reviews. We absolutely do. But it'll always be in varying degrees and take a whole team behind us. That's why we're XPlay and not Adam Play. We have done the experiment and controlled for the variables. Adam will read a script written by the same writer that I will read the other half of the script for, but I'll be the one flamed. And yeah, it also happens to Gerard and TBH.
No, I think she's going off script a little bit here.
But that doesn't discount the sexism of how it happens to me when it does. Both things can be true, that there is a general hatred of any change that isn't Adam, and that I'll receive special flame just for being a woman.
Now, Ryan, a good friend Ryan, brought out a video this morning, and it's basically her in an interview from a month ago, talking about how she, she's always going to push identity politics. And how she puts it, she hates injustice. That's right. Frosk hates injustice, which is also going to be the follow-up to DC's Injustice is Unjustice. I think it's going to be Batmite and Mr. Mixelplex in a video game. That's a bad joke, but I tried. Okay, I tried. Those are try the most, fail the most. And it wasn't written. I just came up with it right now.
And I wish I could turn the camera around so that you...
That's right. She said injustice. She said, I hate injustice.
You could see the incredible team that make XPlay. Half of our producers and writers are women. Emily, Abby, Megan, Joe, Jake, Zipper, Gabby.
Filing cabinet, stapler. Oh, wastebasket. Bathroom that the guys masturbate in.
Goes on and on and on. Former writers that are now on ATOS like Vanessa. When you're in our DMs or on those YouTube comments or in Twitch chat right now, those reactionary threads thinking that I'm somehow ruining your current XPlay experience because you can't objectify me how you previously did to Morgan, or that I'm somehow less qualified to speak on something, but you can't.
You are. You are. You just admitted you are. How about going out in a live stream and just, I don't know, shooting from the hip like everybody else does? I said this last time. My prep for today was I went to the gym, had a strong cup of coffee, took a leak, and started the show.
You can't quite put your finger on why, even though I'm reading the exact same script as Adam, but you have no problem with he's part of it. You're letting your unconscious biases ruin my day, and you're...
That is the quote of the year. You are letting your unconscious biases ruin my day. What? Wait, let's get the end.
Gatekeeping the gaming space. So maybe for 2022, we'd be a bit nicer.
After you call everybody sexist? You want to be a little bit nicer now? You don't sound nice, lady. You sound like the unnice lady.
A bit more self-reflective, and
oh my God, that's projection.
we enjoy the fact that people are working hard to make free content for you.
Oh, people are working hard to make free content. Freedom. I love freedom. Freedom. Wet freedom wing. It's rabbit season.
If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Ah!
Peace.
Yeah! We just ruined our station. Woo! Yeah! You go, Frost! Stupid. Bird. Bent. Biatch. Young and dumb. Young and dumb as fuck. Almost as dumb as Warner Brothers. Almost as dumb as Warner Brothers. Fight. So we found out later that she got a bunch of shit wrong, right? So listen, I don't know the difference between I know the difference between an Xbox and a PS5 and Nintendo, but that's it. I know that I own a couple of those things that I've never touched because my kids just take them away. I know there's exclusives for one or the other. I'm not going to know who the fuck they are, and I don't really care. The only video games I play are those one-up arcades and my Spider-Man Sega game and a pinball machine, and I'm not very good at those. And widely, it's known that I have not found the key to get out of the room in Witcher 3. Okay? Yes, I admit it. But I'm not sitting here giving you game reviews either. I'm not a talking head who used to be in some esports, and it's the frauds that have invaded our space for a long fucking time. I don't know why G4 would want to come and do the same thing Collider just failed at and Nerdist just failed at. Nobody wants this shit. Sure, they get an audience. It's not that hard. You know, you provide some content that's semi-decent, you talk about games, people are really interested in that shit. You know? People will watch anything. I mean, people want to hear about Moon Knight, and that's great. That's fantastic. What they don't want to hear is how bad they are, because they hear that all the fucking time. So I talked about that the other day. Jeremy went on a stream with some of his detractors, and they all, their fucking tails went right between their fucking legs immediately. And, one of them went hog wild crazy. But, he went and faced his detractors. It's the same time he's done it before, and it's the same result. They go right back to doing what they're doing, but what they really want is, a peace. They really want a peace. Well, it's easy to get a peace. It is. It's quite frankly easy. So this message goes out to G4. This message goes out to any channel, any content creator, somebody just Video 101, Cool Video 101 just talked about this. In my opinion, the golden rule for content creator is to never attack your fans and respect your fans. Also, good luck on the move to Texas. For one, do not elevate. Here on YouTube, here's what works for me. I don't elevate myself above the audience. I am the audience. We are the audience. We are the audience. We are the fans. I'm just a fan. That's it. That's all. End of story. I also don't go after other people's audience. Those detractors channels, you ever hear me say anything about their audience? You ever hear me go after their audience? No. Never. Not going to do it. For one, they have a right to be here and do what they want to do. I don't really give two fucks. Never have. But I don't go after them because that's not my concern. That's not what I'm here to do. I've been a part of fandom my entire life. I don't want to be a creative. Never cared that much about it outside of my one chance going down there. And I decided very quickly, I'm like, it's not for me. And I never looked back. And that was a decade ago. Respect your audience. Don't attack your audience. Don't attack another channel's audience. Because what young Frosk did is she got all of that applause from her cohorts there. She went home feeling she was on cloud nine. She's all, I did it. They're going to clip that. Articles are going to be written. I am going to bring back Gamergate 2.0. And you know Anita Sarkeesian was flicking her bean to this video. And so were many others. And then nothing happened except we talked about it. And the internet just piled on, and now she's going, oh shit. As Jeremy put it, ruined a channel in 4 minutes and 45 seconds. They're bleeding subscribers, and it's her fault and whoever told her to do that. And it's not going to come back from this. And it wasn't doing that great. And the same goes for anyone else. So those detractors, what they can learn from it is when you constantly call members of the audience here stupid, ignorant, racist, you might be calling somebody in your channel's audience the same thing. I know it's rocket science. It's like literally rocket science. And then you wonder why your shit doesn't grow. Fragile egos. It's all about fragile little egos. People can't let shit go. They fuck with their own success so much. I've done it. I've done it. I know because I've done it. Let shit get to me, get under my skin, fucked up a good thing. Oh, well. Bye, Felicia. By the way, once again, applause to Chrissy Mayer and Gothics and Chris Gore for coming on. Picking one Friday Night Tights over the other is like, favoring one child over the other, although I definitely like my younger son better. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. I'm kidding. I love my boys. But I've got to say, I have to agree with Az that was our best show. That was our best show. You know how much planning went into that show? None. Absolutely, positively none. I think I shot a couple of articles into the group DM, and we got to maybe half of them. But as I said, when this thing happened, sometimes the content creator gods provide. They provide. All right, we're going to read some soups and then talk about fucking DC and Marvel and the race to failure. Like, who wants to fail first? I do. And then fucking DC goes, hold my triple latte. We're not only going to get rid of Batman, we're going to get rid of Superman and replace them with people of color. I cannot wait to go to my cocktail party and brag about this to all the people who don't watch that stuff, who all think that, when are you guys going to make the Spider-Man and Batman movie? Isn't Darth Vader on that Enterprise ship? Junior Ruiz for $20 says the hipster edgelord door is where SJW snuck in. It is. The thing is, if we try to talk about this with nuance, a lot of this stuff started out fine. We had no fucking idea. But what happened is a facet of the industry that was really kept in check by everybody else in the industry drove everyone else out with politics and fear. And that facet of the industry took over that never should have taken over. The inmates are running the asylum. Like everybody loves Venture Brothers. Who could hate Venture Brothers? I don't think I've ever heard somebody say they hate Venture Brothers. I've heard them say they're not into it, which is fine. But yeah, Peacemaker is edgelord trash. It's the kind, yeah, like I said, it's edgelord comedy for people from 2012 who hang out in comedy shops and vote for Beto O'Rourke. I don't know, fucking in Austin. Buford T Justice for $50. Hail. Kathleen Kennedy is getting a lifetime. Of course, she's getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. She has gotten some very famous men coffee. You should get who else has gotten Steven Spielberg and George Lucas coffee? Kathleen Kennedy. According to certain channels, this is a sign that she is out the door. Hope has turned into delusion. Boba Fett character was killed on the altar of woke, and John and Dave fired the gun. Let's Buford Chi Justice. Listen, thank you. Speaking for this channel, there is an interview that's making its rounds on Twitter that we will go and look at right now of the Tamara Morrison. I'm always mispronounce his name. From Boba Fett, talking about how he wanted less dialogue. If somebody out there could be nice enough to DM me, if any of the mods can DM me that, I don't know who retweeted. I can't remember where I saw it, but it's Tamara. I'm mispronouncing his name. Tamara Morrison. He's in like some white, and he's talking about like, yeah, I wanted less dialogue. And Jon Favreau said he wanted the dialogue, but did you catch what he said? Jon Favreau called from the plane flight that he wants all the dialogue in while they're shooting The Mandalorian. Jon Favreau is writing this thing on the fly. He's doing other shit. He's flying around. Leave all the dialogue in. I'm sure it just sounds like to me, this is just anecdotal. This is just speculation, that he's not really hyper-focused on this TV show. Like, it's filler. Like I said, why I wasn't going to take the time. Now, I got a beautiful email yesterday asking me to review the show. And like, I'm almost convinced. And it's based on somebody watching another video. So I watched the video. They told me to watch this video. And then they wrote this, and they were very nice. And we'll talk about it in a second. I'll see if Lady Gravemaster. Thank you. No, I see a bunch of and Quarter Black Garrett. Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you, Quarter Black. I'll try not to Lady Gravemaster, pineapple on pizzas. Delicious. I'm going to have some today. I'm going to eat it slow. And every bite will taste like victory. Just want you to know. It's a Data Racer tweet. Thank you again, Quarter Black Garrett and Lady Gravemaster. Bless your heart. Let's go. Victory. It's going to taste like victory. Can't wait. Here we go. He's going to talk about ruling with respect. We're going to respect pronouns.
I was hoping not to say as much as I have already in the first 2 episodes. I speak far too much. In fact, in the beginning, I was trying to get past my lines on to Ming Na.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say...
Excuse me, Director.
Hail Data Racer, by the way.
I really feel that Ming Na should say these lines because I want to stay mysterious. I want to stay quiet.
But then I caught on. He wasn't just trying to be a very generous actor, which he is. He was just trying to parlay some of the work to me.
Yes.
Sharing his responsibility.
So yeah, but and even when, because obviously John's one of the key writers. So and so sometimes I'd always say, I think this is too much. I think this is too much. Then I'd go to, what was the other guy's name? Noah. I try and get.
Oh, Noah. Yes, Noah Noor. Mm-hmm.
I remember, of course, John actually went away to Atlanta, so I rang Noah that night and I said, Noah, the scene tomorrow, I'm talking too much. This Boba doesn't talk this much. Look, I've got all these paragraphs here. I think we should get rid of it. And John's gone to Atlanta, so don't tell him. And then next minute that morning on set, I get a call from Atlanta. John wants you to say all that dialogue. I was hoping.
John wants you to say all that dialogue. So I will preface this by stating, listen, it did look like Jon Favreau was the guy. It did. To give you something palatable, something digestible from Disney Star Wars, it isn't good. It's meh. It's okay. It's going right to the Disney trilogy. It's going to reinforce everything Disney has produced. They do not understand Star Wars. Jon Favreau seems like a nice guy. Really wish he would have fucking stood up for Gina Carano, and I lost a lot of respect for him because he didn't. He's got plenty of money. People were talking about, Joss Whedon's pretty much done. He's got plenty of money. He's going to be fine. He still gets his residuals. Joss Whedon ain't starving. He just won't get the attention and won't have a great legacy. And Jon Favreau has enough fucking chutzpah, has enough juice to walk away from this shit. He could have kept Gina Carano there because I think if he threatened to walk, they would have kept her. Because just Dave Filoni is going to be live action Filoniverse, which, is popular, but it doesn't have that uber mass appeal that Star Wars needs to exist. Star Trek can be niche. Star Wars is not niche. Star Wars is fandom for normies. It is fandom for normies. We like, some of us like to get in the weeds on stuff. We like a little more hardcore stuff. But Star Wars, everybody loves Star Wars because it's very nice. It's very palatable. At least it was. Not anymore. Like I said in my video, unless you, this got cut out. Perry cut this out. If you want to have 260 million subscribers by 2024, aside from the stuff I just talked about in my last video, but this didn't make the edit. It's okay that he cut it out. You also need to resurrect Carrie Fisher, Gary Kurtz, bring back Marsha Lucas, get her back together with George so she can have some power over him, bring George back, have de-aging technology, no, not for film, for real life, and de-age them all, and then bring back Harrison Ford, the resurrected Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill before he suffered from TDS. Maybe you bring some of those people back and you still wouldn't hit 260 million. I'm sure they are, and they're going to have to use some gimmick. They'll probably give it away free with fucking a phone or some shit like that. So they'll get their 260, but it won't be real 260. Just like this ain't a real whatever they have now. Listen, I'm not making up the news that it's stagnant. The stock is stagnant. Disney is stagnant because they went too fucking woke and intersectional. Nobody will say it. That's why people come here. That's why people come here instead of fucking G4 and Collider, because I'll say that shit. I'm not going to be right all the time. This is all my speculation. I got no sources, nor do I want any. I've just got my little life experience, and I obsess on this shit. And yeah, I've sold some comic books, and you see a lot of lessons through comic books that you can relate to this. A lot of successes and failures that I'm seeing now in a much bigger sense in Hollywood, and I'm seeing Hollywood repeat the same mistakes of the comic book industry, especially when it comes to Marvel and DC. But this tells you in response to that super chat, that's Jon Favreau. The same Jon Favreau that the MCU let go. Now, I think a lot of people are going to forget that Edgar Wright, Joss Whedon, Jon Favreau, and Robert Downey Jr. were instrumental in building the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They were together. They were, a lot of those ideas that are in different movies are Joss Whedon ideas. I think I heard some people saying, and I respect these people, and that's fine, that the Avengers was the culmination. No, Joss Whedon is a good director. He's a good director. He wrote Black Widow better than anybody else, or the Hulk. And a lot of good ideas that you saw in those other movies were his. He's an asshole. He's a fuckface. And he's, whatever. But they were. And they were also Jon Favreau's. Edgar Wright put in a ton of feedback before they let him go. I would have loved to have seen an Edgar Wright Ant-Man. I think it would have been fucking great. But, oh well. So now you hear that Jon Favreau is making this Boba Fett. So we go back to the email, and it was Mark with the C. Somebody showed me his talk about Boba Fett, and in his video he talked about like it's bigger than Star Wars. Well, it's always been bigger than Star Wars. What we talk about has always been bigger than Marvel. It's always been bigger than DC. It always has. We just got to choose our battles. What I responded in the email was the reason I'm not covering Star Wars because I know there's a lot of lessons to be learned from Boba Fett, especially we've got why the story feels so off. Why does the story feel off? I speculate it's because you're treating sand people with respect, and they're they're afraid that sand people are going to be confused with indigenous people. So now they have to write them as indigenous people instead of being just the villains from the sand that they were meant to be. Meaning this is the death of storytelling. Because you can't, what? If we depict the sand people as bad, I'm going to think, because of my racial prejudices, that they're indigenous people. I never saw sand people as indigenous people. I saw them as sand people on the planet of Tatooine in a galaxy far, far away and something that's not real. But it reinforces the colonial. Fucking shut up. No, it doesn't. It's the fucking sand people. You're reinforcing my argument that your parents wasted a bunch of money on your fucking empty head in the university. That's all. Thank you, Buford T. Justice. You got a lot of money. You got a lot of mileage out of that. A lot of mileage. Randomize for $4.49. That's proper British money. Hail, Gary. Having a bit of a bad day, so need cheering up. And then you popped on live on my phone just at the right time. Get a coffee on me, Gary. Oh, cheers. Cheers. I made some little. So good. So good when it hits your lips. So the video asked me to review it because they wanted to hear my insight. And it's like, that's really nice. Like how you say no to that shit. And it's a couple paragraphs long of how they appreciate my insight. And, I just make the videos, right? And I don't know how they affect. I know how they piss people off sometimes, which is funny. But yeah, it was really nice. I'm like, and they make a great argument. They in a very nice way. They feel like I abandoned a sphere of fandom. All right, which was never my intention. It was I don't care. And I can't pretend I care. So, if I give a review, it's going to be Boba Fett walks down the middle of the street and he's kind of fat. How is he still fat after being in the Sarlacc pit when he wasn't fat before? How did he gain weight in the Sarlacc pit? How come Tamira Morrison, who looks great for his age, but how come he couldn't get a little thinner for the role? I know Jeremy Bulloch, the original actor in it, was rail skinny, but he does look good right there, though. In that interview, looks fantastic, and he seems like a great guy. Seems like a really nice guy. And so does Ming Wen. I always get her name wrong. Gorgeous. 57 years old. Yeah, it just, I don't know. Mahler, what I would do is I would recommend EFAP. I watched them all on Sunday. They're fucking great. So I think there's a lot of great up and coming channels covering it. So go pick and go watch that Mark with the C video. I thought it was pretty good. He had a lot to say. That I agree with. I tried to mention it in my video that if people want to cover this, I think they should. I'm not acting like I'm better than anybody. Like, by all means, cover it. But I just don't think Star Wars is going to change. No, I know Star Wars isn't going to change. And if they get rid of Kathleen Kennedy, they'll just elevate. I mean, that's going to prop up Pablo Hidalgo another step. Michelle Rejwan. There's another girl who's assisting Kennedy who just generally does all the work. I mean, Kennedy doesn't have any creative input. She just like gets all the shit together as a boss does. I'll just say here, I'll speak for myself. I don't want to sell despair. But when it comes to Star Wars, we took an L. And we kind of knew we would. Doesn't mean we stopped trying. Doesn't mean we didn't make the giant bleed. I think that's the biggest takeaway. I used the 300 analogy last week. We made a god bleed. That's something. And you know what? And when we get something good and it brings everybody together, we do need to support it. We do. I don't think they'll learn the lesson, but whatever. Gary, I am mad. Told this to Ryan Kennel yesterday. Lauren Hisrich blocked me on Twitter for nothing. One stupid little joke, and I defended her in the past. These people are no fun. No wonder why her writing sucks hard, says Bilbo, for 100 Czechoslovakian pesos. I don't know what the joke was, and I know it's been kind of cute seeing her and Jeremy get together. It's not going to change my opinion of the show at all. Although she does look like somebody who will, I guess, reach out to YouTubers. She wasn't really reaching out to Nina until Nina had to really try to get her attention. I just don't think she's the right person for the job. I really don't. I think The Witcher should be much bigger than it is. And by the way, that was another title I was going to pop in here. The Witcher is a memory. It's a memory. If Lauren Hisrich wasn't talking to Jeremy, nobody in our sphere would even be discussing it. I want to love that show. I would love to be doing multiple live streams on the lore and all that shit. And I just, I am going to do a review, though. I promised I'm going to do it. Then Picard. Then I'm doing a review on something I love. Stetson Gold. Here's Gary. Here's Gary. Here's to you. Oh, here's to you. Okay, gotcha. And yours. And pray I make it past my family to return home in one piece. I will pray for you, Stetson's Gold. And thank you for the 10 British pounds. Proper money. The Uber Geek for $5 makes brilliant for £5. Brilliant memes. Hail to the Fellowship. I feel G4 replaced Jack Murphy as the main idiot very quickly. P.S. Did you receive my email entitled live streams? I did. I will respond to it, Uber Geek. And thank you. Thank you for all you do. Uber Geek and Renee. Rage 958. 9580 Dirty Lurby for $4.99 says, Hail Gary, first time super chat, so be gentle. I will. Be gentle. Just have to say that intro was what got me to almost follow 2 years ago. Oh, cheers. Hey, Perry Chan. By the way, his work on my last video. Chef's kiss. Code E, the naked space hero for $2 says MLK was assassinated by a Democrat. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Brown Gaijin for $2. Frosk sounds like a Bond villain name. Am I right? You kind of are. Am I right? Sparks1524 for $20 says, great Nerdrotic. Thank you. I don't know about that. I'm safely moved to Florida and working on my third novel. If Texas doesn't work out, check out Florida. We also believe in freedom. We also have plenty of sunshine. You do. You have alligators too, though. And that was a concern with Mrs. Nerdrotic. Yeah, I mean, it's always an option. It's always an option to maybe, I know it's cheap enough to live there to where we can get like a place. I wouldn't even like, listen to how whiskey tango I am. I wouldn't be adverse to getting like a mobile home over there just to chill out for a couple months or something like that. I wouldn't want to buy like a condo. Or just get my own motorhome and just drive over there. If I could afford it, if that happens, it happens. George R. R. Martin wants to be like the greats, Tolkien, Jordan, DRC, Sato, and leave unfinished works, says Richard Coleman. This is from a couple days ago for £5. I've been thinking a lot about George R. R. Martin. And I just think you cannot subvert the tropes of Tolkien if you don't finish the book. That's all. That's all. We are in 2022, and we have not gotten the Winds of Winter. It's approaching 4,000 days, 11 years since we got the last book. But we are getting a show in April, House of the Dragons, directed and showrun by Ryan Condell and Miguel Sapochnik, who are good at what they do. I'm going to cover it. Because, come on, Game of Thrones helped build this channel. I've read the books up and down, left and right, upside down. You know how many times I've read the books? I've read the books in character order. Like I read all the Tyrion stories. I started out with the characters who die earliest, and then I moved to the characters and like the ones who lived the longest. I read that there. Yes, that's how many times I've read the books. I like them. I do. It's just cancel Jeremy. Yeah, cancel Jeremy for like being a pussy and quitting Friday Night Tides. No, he didn't really quit Friday Night Tides. You kidding me? Jeremy would miss me too much. He would miss me far too much to quit. Tell you that right now. All right. Warner Brothers. Dumb as fuck. Warner Brothers. Or is it Marvel? Marvel goes back to reshoots. Recently we heard there's a few reshoots going on with Moon Knight, but I think they're going to announce a release date today, and somebody said end of March. So they must not be much. But we had 6 weeks, 6 days a week of Doctor Strange reshoots. Then we have extensive reshoots with Miss Marvel. Now, I may have news on Miss Marvel and Batgirl. Quarter Black knows what I'm talking about, but I can't really say beyond that. I'm just going to say, I'll say this. This will be a tease. You never know who's watching your live streams or your videos. And it doesn't matter how big your channel is. You never know who's watching and who might reach out. I'll look into it. I don't know anything about it, but I might get back to you on it. Yeah, so the controversy behind Miss Marvel is ridiculous. And this is what happens when you play identity politics games. You win identity politics prizes. Now, to all the people who are going to call me a bigot and all that stuff, I don't care that a character is Pakistani or Muslim. Fine. Make more of them. But don't lead with that. And especially don't lead with that with the first words out of your trailer are a brown girl can't be a fucking hero in this country when Storm was a little girl picking the fucking pocket of Professor X back in the early 70s. And she eventually went to lead the fucking X-Men. And so a black woman led the Avengers decades ago. Stop acting like this shit is just invented. And what it does is it feeds into all the fucking divisiveness. And it really does fucking reinforce Hollywood's argument, the elitist argument that we live in a white supremacist country. Of course, they think they're all separated from this. And of course, we fucking don't. And it's all part of this bullshit attack on the middle class, by the way. The middle class that supports this entire country. The middle class that keeps this country going. America does not exist as it does today, 10 years ago, without a middle class. That's why we're the ones constantly under attack. They will use terminology like the rich, but when they start attacking the rich, what they mean is everybody who's not poor. I don't want people to be poor. Nobody wants people to be poor. But I tell you what, this imperfect nation of ours is probably, I've not lived in every other country, but I can't think of another country that would have allowed a 2-time loser who used to live under a fucking bush to have a 3rd and 4th and 5th chance at getting it right. We got a lot of work to do, though. Tons of work to do. But if we're going backwards, and a lot of that has to do with the general populace constantly being assaulted with bullshit, with fucking bullshit, with fear porn, bullshit, lies, baked into our entertainment, baked into our video games, baked into our comic books, baked into our fucking news, baked into fucking commercials. It's everywhere. That's why we exist. That's why people like me went and sought out people on fucking YouTube. Some of them controversial. Some of them have sold out and become complete assholes. But at the time, I was listening to people like Captain Cummins. I was listening to people like your boy Zach. Milo Yiannopoulos. A lot of people were listening to Milo Yiannopoulos. Gavin McGinnis. I'm like, oh, the fucking poor boys. Yeah, you know what? I was watching the episode where he came up with the Proud Boys, not poor boys, Proud Boys, sorry. And it was from a Disney song, Proud of Your Boy. And it was supposed to be just a bunch of dudes who play fucking pool and go drink. That's how it started. What it turned into, whatever. I think poor Gavin got raked over the coals about that. But to get into the Proud Boys, and Chrissy and I have talked about this, the initiation was naming 3 breakfast cereals as people punch you. So it started out as a fun men's group. And it turned into a media boogeyman, and they've had a lot of them since then. But that's when I started seeing, like, shit's going crazy. I'm being bullshitted. And that's why people are here. And here we are. We're this far down the road, and we're still getting identity politics filled shit. So if we look at the slate of the MCU this year, ain't looking good. It's just not looking very good. Doctor Strange is probably going to be the best of the best. But just sticking fucking America Chavez in there. So we're going to get America Chavez and her 2 lesbian moms before Silver Surfer, Namor, Reed Richards, Sue Richards, Ben Grimm, Johnny Storm, Dr. fucking Doom. The biggest villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is still sitting out there, but we've got Photon. We've got Captain Marvel, a derivative of a derivative of a derivative. We've got Miss Marvel, Echo, fucking Echo. We don't have Dr. Doom yet. All because Kevin Feige wanted more women than men. The Marvel Cinematic Universe flipped out over a couple of things. Actually, the entire industry did. Aside, these are symptoms outside of TDS. There was a poll done in 2014, a Facebook poll, I believe it was, that asked if you're interested in comics. Not if you buy them, if you're interested in them. And it came back 47% women said they were interested in comic books. Well, the entire industry said, well, God, 50% of the people want to buy comic books. Let's make everything for women. So you tried it. Good. Try it. You should. And then they found out, oh, no. That was a bullshit poll. You were just believing what you wanted to believe. It said interested in comic books. That could mean I like looking at Superman. I'm not going to buy any. See, interest in comic books is going into the store once a week, buying, at least minimum $40. I'll make it even less. We'll say once a month, spending $100. That's interest in comic books. Outside of that, you just have a very passing light interest in it. That, my friends, has been and always will be 15%, and that's high. If you want to conflate other things, fine. But we're talking about American superheroes. We're not talking about manga. Not talking about anime. We're not talking about children's books or YA. So that's the other part that didn't make my video. So there's that. And now they're repeating the same mistakes as the comic books did. Like a lot of us said 2 years ago, we're like, ooh, don't go down this road. Don't go down this road. I do believe somebody called the MCU a juggernaut. I would say it still is, as long as you have Spider-Man around. And as long as you can throw in all the cameos you want. But we just saw a year of introductory superheroes, and it fell flat. Some called it an absolute triumph. Some people called it an absolute failure. I would say it stagnated, which is closer to failure than success. Then we have the DCEU that said, hold my triple latte, Marvel. We're going to do you one better. We're going to get rid of Superman. We're going to get rid of Batman. We're going to get Supergirl is the, and this is their words, this is their language. Supergirl is the next Superman. Batgirl will be the next Batman. So apparently they're growing a couple of penises. They're also going to be women of color, which means they're not even Supergirl or Batgirl. If this bothers people, I really have no control of it, because that's the truth. The real Superwoman, Supergirl is blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl. Barbara Gordon is a red-haired white girl. So it's a gender-swapped. No, it's a race-swapped derivative character. Two characters that were popular. I own comics. I've read a lot of Supergirl and Superwoman comics and Batgirl comics. I like the characters. Zero interest in this. Zero interest. If I didn't have a channel, I wouldn't cover it. So they're going to do a Batman Beyond kind of thing with this Batgirl. Her costume looks terrible. Her costume looks terrible. There's Batman Year One. That's Darwin Cook. Is that Darwin Cook? I can't tell. Here it is. Get out of there. It's not huge. You can't tell, but it's as I think it was Az who described it. No, it was Christy Mayer who said that it looks like somebody fat put it on before she did. It looks terrible. And compared to other costumes, compared to all the cosplay that everybody's put up on Twitter, it looks awful. So the director, I don't know if this is in the article. The director responded. That's not in the article. The director responded with the meme of Batman slapping Robin, saying, "You haven't seen the movie yet. Don't do that." And this is the Burnside Batgirl. By the way, New 52 sucked. See, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good and proper right there. Chuck Dixon. That looks good and proper right there. And the Supergirl costume, we've seen that. That looks like shit. So I don't know what the hell they're thinking. Like, we're going to have a movie with 2 Ezra Millers, a Supergirl that looks like a 3rd Ezra Miller. We're going to have a couple Batman in it, which is the only reason any of us are going to go see the movie. And what's funny is, I think Doctor Strange is actually going to beat. So I think Marvel's actually going to beat DC to this. When does Flashpoint come out? What's the release date? Is Doctor Strange going to beat it? Because that'd be hilarious if they beat it twice. Shit. I don't know what to say. Man, it's getting warm in here. Hang on. I'm going to turn on my fan. It's a little muggy. Warner Brothers is the dumbest company. You have the biggest star in the world, fucking Henry Cavill, wanting to play Superman. Ben Affleck. You guys, you drove the poor guy to relapse. I think he'd still be around if there wasn't a bunch of fucking idiots at Warner Brothers. And those 2 guys would make you a lot of money. If you look back, you know what's funny is watch when these movies come out and then compare the box office to Batman versus Superman, to Man of Steel, to even fucking Justice League. It's going to pale in comparison. It's going to pale in comparison. Just like The Suicide Squad, a movie that I thought was good. I actually thought it was an improvement on the first Suicide Squad, and it didn't do, half the money. It didn't do half the fucking money. What does that tell you? That tells you that Ben Affleck Batman, who was in it, and Harley Quinn, and Margot Robbie, who was hot as hell, are still popular. Unfairly, what was put on those movies is they needed to make $1 billion. Well, they almost did, and they're not good. Imagine if you made something good. A lot of people like Wonder Woman. It was the most competently made movie up until the 3rd act. I like this stuff, though, and I think the Snyder Cut is the best of the lot. The best of the lot. I don't like Ezra Miller's Flash, though. That being said, this is going to be a giant fucking disaster, and they are fucking idiotic. And I am just going to sit back, and I'm going to sip my fucking coffee, and I'm just going to make videos, and I'm going to watch everybody else's videos, because I am telling you, as bad as the MCU is, the DCEU will be worse. It is dead on arrival. DOA. I'm sure the Batman's going to be doing good for DC, and that'll probably flip the bill. Just like Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be able to flip the bill for woke MCU for the next couple of years until there are massive failures, not just failures. They need to be massive, embarrassing failures. That's when this shit starts changing. I was bringing it up 2 weeks ago. Other people are now. Is the tide turning? I believe it is, but on the very ground level. On the very ground level, it's going to take time to get up to Hollywood. Hollywood, unlike what Robert Meyer Burnett says, Hollywood is where trends go to die. Art, all movements, all trends start at ground level with the people. Hollywood is too corporate. They don't manufacture anything other than reflective art. Art that starts at the streets, I guess. And what's happened to art, when this is very unfortunate, is it's something that a lot of my friends on the right have abandoned completely. And it's really important for a society. Now, it's not as important as food or water or shelter, but it's still important. It's the sign of a strong society. And it's part of the ecosystem of societies. If it starts breaking down, then, well, that's why it's great. You know what? I have no regrets. I love the fact that OAN, One American News, reached out to me to talk to me about my wife's business. You know, nobody else did. Nobody else gave a shit. A bunch of people fucking threw all this shit. How can anybody who, How could a fandom menace channel, which I was a channel that used, I like the hashtag, but I'm nerdrotic, be on OAN? It's easily, they asked, and I went on, and I'll go on again if they wanted me to go on again. And a lot of people have reached out, and it's cool. But I'm seeing a lot more understanding from that side, from a side where, I wasn't on either, to be honest with you. Always kind of doing my own thing. But I'm seeing a lot more understanding on that side. The other side is totalitarian. The other side is authoritarian. And Hollywood is very pro-authoritarian. And they're showing that. They're showing that. John Connors. So I'm going to make a full video on this very subject of the Batgirl costume, the director's reaction, why Hollywood is scared of Henry Cavill, because Henry Cavill should be, I think he could arguably be in 3 popular franchises, make these franchises better, and it would be like printing money. And the poor guy was born at the wrong time. Henry Cavill should be Superman. You should have a trilogy made right now. There should be no hesitancy about this. And you want to know why there is? He's a fucking white male. That's the only thing that's stopping him. He's not getting work because he's a white male. He should be Bond. It's a no-brainer. Bond needs a little injection. Sure, it did great worldwide, but it's been dying here. It's been dying here. And they just killed Bond, and they're going to understand what the consequences of actually killing your character on screen. I don't think they realize, people will see him as dead now. And they don't, but that's a video for another day. And he should be instead of 33 1/3 of The Witcher, he should be in 75% of The Witcher. I know it's Ciri's story, and we really want to tell the story of Jennifer. I bet you if you poll women, I'd bet I'd stake my fucking house on this. My brand new house in Texas. Not only the majority of women, I'm going to say vast majority of women just want to see Henry. And if you took Yennefer out of the story completely, they wouldn't give 2 fucks. There's enough pussies in fucking LA County to vote for Yennefer on the guy side. And I thought she was, honestly, in season 1, I thought she was fine. Thought she did a good job. It was Ciri I didn't like in the first season. Thought she was a little better in the second season. Then Yennefer became annoying. And all the other, oh my God, Frangilla, and just, they all got to go. But I'll do a video on that. But Henry should be fucking Marlon Brando right now. He should be Burt Reynolds, Marlon Brando, Gregory Peck, fucking all wrapped into one right now. Biggest star in the world. Paparazzi should be following him around anywhere. The dude doesn't even want to date. And he's not getting jobs. He should be like, every time he gets up in the morning, his agent calls with 50 script offers. And he's probably not getting them. Which is insane. Oh, be in the Sherlock Holmes fucking thing on Netflix so you can be the bait and switch for number 11 from fucking Stranger Things. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck world are we in right now? And at least if you're going to have a Batgirl and a Supergirl, make them look like girls. It looks like Bat Transition and Super Transition, or Bat Boy and Superboy. Stop defeminizing women. I've got more to say on that later. All right. Soups. Super dupe. Super dupe. Yes, the coffee was very strong today. That's the way I make it. The more you know, The more you know for $10. Did you know if you remove one N from Froskerin from G4 and split the word to frosk and urine, that's frog urine in Norwegian, which describes her personality perfectly. And knowing is half the battle. I wouldn't call that a personality. Somebody who says unironically, I hate injustice. Wherever I go, I want to fight injustice. It's just somebody with no meaning in their lives. They've never done anything in their lives. Said it before, say it again. My life started getting a whole lot better once I realized it wasn't fair. And it owes me shit. A Quebec lockdown is going up at a notch on January 24th. All big box stores like Walmart will require your vax papers to enter. The madness is making me an insomniac, but the content you provide is chicken soup for the soul. Thanks for being you, Gary. Oh, thanks, John Connors, $7.99. I'm sorry. The only thing I can say is if you are in a position, get the fuck out. Yes, certain states will do that here, but certain states will not. And there's no way the federal government can make them. Now, there might be some skullduggery, and you might have to move around here a couple of times, but the way we're set up, thankfully, it's too difficult for the federal government to be completely totalitarian, except in the cities. We're way too spread out. But if you can get the fuck out, work remote or something like that, and move to someplace like Florida. I would recommend Florida over Texas right now because of price. Texas price are shooting up because of assholes like me moving to Texas. Sorry. Not sorry. Sorry. I'm not going to vote like California, though. Promise. Film Europa. But if you can get out, man, Canada, fucking Australia. What the fuck? I know there's a lot of good Australians, and I don't know where you go. I don't know where you go. A suggestion when finally driving out of California the last time, play real loud California. Oh, I have my California exit playlist, and that will be part of it. California Uber Alice. Good luck in Texas. Thank you very much. I will be playing it. Yes. I will be live streaming my drive out and my final cross of that border with a giant middle finger extended. Yeah, if California was a dude, I'd kick its ass. I sent a photo of Yodo with caption, "Hate leads to suffering," to Adam Sussler on Twitter, and he got blocked in less than an hour. That guy needs help. I feel sad for him more than anything. Yeah, there's a lot of, dude, it's bipolar. It's bipolar. You can tell. That's not a happy dude. Thank you for the $5. Gentle for $5. In the words of Matt Wagner's Grendel, awesome. You could say that we are in the incubation years. Yes. Well said. Well said. All right, we're going to go to the super chat. That was donations. Donations. Here we go to super chats. All right. Hang on. Main. Boop, 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 boop. That's interesting. How do I do that? How do I fix that? I know how to fix that. Make it visible. Does that work? Kind of. Doing this on the fly, folks. Until Quarter Black gets up to speed. There we go. How about the Amazon Medusa commercial? Very anti-male, probably pro-lesbian. Bought that there is anything, not that there is anything wrong with that. Hail to the fellowship. Thank you, Brian. I haven't seen it. I'll have to check it out. The Moon Knight trailer comes out tonight during Sports Ball. I know that. And I'm going to watch it. I'll probably put a reaction on Nerdrotic Daily. Again, he's one of my favorite characters. I've got every incarnation of an action figure. I've got Amigo custom. I've got all kinds of crazy customs of them. Fell in love with them when I was a kid, when Bill Sienkiewicz drew that classic, issue 25. And it's just, I love the book. I never understood why not everybody picked it up, though. Any random rambling, slightly off-topic video from your boy Zach gets about 3 times more views than G4. It does. And that's him just in his car, right? I still think he's got a lot to say. I do. By the way, Britt Cormier, thank you for the $50. Great quote from Justified. Real quick, Justified, great show. If you run into an a-hole in the morning, you ran into an a-hole. If you run into a-holes all day, you're the a-hole. I'm pretty sure this works for sexist, racist, and many other ists. YouTube hates the word a-hole. Yeah. And I get what you're saying there. By the way, Justified coming back. It's coming back with Timothy Olyphant. My wife was very happy. It's a good show. It'll probably be woke as fuck, so I'm not going to get too excited. But Justified was a good show. I liked it. People are trying to get me to watch Yellowstone. I watched the first episode. I wasn't taken away, but I know I need to watch more, so I'm going to watch more and see if I get hooked. Banshee, another good show. Can I suggest we get Flawedzilla on Friday Night Tights? I think he can be great. There is a guest. I've never heard of Flawedzilla. I will look. That's how big YouTube is. Flawdzilla's probably like 5 times bigger than me. I don't know. There are channels that have millions of subs I've never heard of. Who's coming up? I don't think it's this week, but Shadversity. Shadversity is coming up. The only reason Olivia Munn ever was famous was because she's pretty, full stop. Yeah, she's gotten some acting gigs, but she's decent at it, but she doesn't have a ton of range. She's not a thespian. She got a lot of work because she was hot and she had a very cute, bubbly personality with a very good sense of humor. Her charm. It's not just being hot. It was hot and charming. $20 says the guys from G4 TV think women make 20% less than men for doing the same job. Yes. And they probably heard that from Frosk. Thank you very much. Unpopular movie reviews for $5. Buddy Lee for $5. Those are not her words, and Adam still has the monkey on his back. Yes, he does. We got Gomer Kyle. Am I wrong? I'm 42. When did it become a thing to brag about jerking it? I believe that would have got my ass beat or laughed at in the 90s. Yeah, I that must be new on me too. It's not something I ever talked about. It's like talking about taking a dump. Nobody wants to hear. We all do it. I don't want to hear about it though. It's not that I don't know about video games. It's just that half of our team are women. That's what she just said. LOL. I know. Benjamin Beltran. Good call there. Thank you for the 50 Martian pesos. Pope Metalicious the first. And everyone clapped right before getting on Indeed. Well, so much for this gig. So much for this gig. There we go. And we got Gary. You're an awesome stand-up guy. I'm glad you call out Hollywood's racist bigotry and bullshit. They don't like straight black dudes either. Fight the power. Hell yeah, Lee. Lee Tasby for $20. One of the issues that I guess Ray Fisher had with Jeff Johns was, and like, listen, when it comes to the character Cyborg, he's not angry. He's kind of a happy character, somewhat. But that wasn't really the character that was in the Snyder Cut. And I guess Jeff Johns made a comment about angry black man or something like that. Hollywood fears that. Hollywood fears the masculine black man because they're fucking racist. That's why. So that's why they always tend to make them, we'll say, less masculine at every single opportunity. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for the wise words. Mr. Grant Gregory for $5 Australian. Hail Nerdrotic. Got kicked from my AA meeting because of not being fully vaxxed, and sponsor dropped me. What? You are really helping me today. Thanks, brother. That is not what AA is supposed to be doing, and I was told specifically that's not what they're doing. I was told specifically that they would not keep people out for not getting vaxxed. Fuck your sponsor then. Fuck your sponsor. Fuck your sponsor. Find another one. Sorry to hear that. Just find another one. You'll get another one. Just go to another meeting and say, I need a sponsor, just at least temporarily. Don't go, trust me, don't go too long without them. Go to a next meeting if you can, or a Zoom meeting if you got to, and just say, I'm so-and-so, I'm an alcoholic, I need a sponsor. You'll get one. Google Vault Dweller to see Google Vault Dweller to see BG outfit inspiration. Batgirl. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Flubber 11 USA for $2. It took me a minute there. I'm slow on the pickup. Sorry about that. Thank you for the $2. Hang on. I got to go over here. I'm running out of time. I got 5 minutes. You guys are awesome. And again, Super Chat Square Up. I'll include these. Will be tonight, 9:30 p.m. Pacific time on Nerdrotic Live. Link is in the description. We're going to cover Friday Night Tights, the anniversary, and this one. It will be live. If any of my cohorts are up, I'll invite them on. They probably won't be, but it's like it'll be late after everybody else is done live streaming. I don't want to cross the streams. I can tell you one thing I don't do. I mean, again, like crazy shit gets said about every channel, and it doesn't matter how big they are. Like Culture Casino, I'm sure Culture Casino probably gets far worse than you look like a Tallahassee lawyer or DUI lawyer. I'm sure Jeremy gets a lot worse than you're a ripped jeans wearing, Tom Brady simping, fucking Velcro shoes loving, pineapple pizza hating, grifter. I'm sure he gets much worse than that. We all do. I'm sure Ryan gets, along with me, 7 forehead, you don't have a forehead, you have a 7 head kind of shit. I get it. It's fine. We all get shit. There's all theories. There's always some rainbow ops going on that I like to call just gops. They're called gops in my world. Gay ops, if you're wondering at home. What's a gay op? You ask. A gay op is when DM groups, Whisper Networks, DM groups plot to fish for information to, I don't know, cancel people and shit or whatever. Do whatever they knew to fuck with other YouTubers. Happens all the time. Nerd fan. Okay, that's where in the 2000s. That's where I wanted to go. Flubber USA, the Physicality channel for $5. I've interacted with Proud Boys during Berkeley Wars. One of them helped me fight off Antifa and San Francisco Union Square during a protest against open borders. The thing is, there are very tiny, small groups of white supremacists and white separatists who just want to, I mean, they're not necessarily, well, at least they don't say I'm just calling it how I see it. I don't know all the facts. I could be wrong on some, but there's stuff like some want their own country and all that stuff, and they'll show up to the rallies. Proud Boys are, I think a lot of them saw themselves as the protectors of the Trump supporters who were getting just beaten up and killed. So they went out to protect some of them, and they're out to fight Antifa, which is coordinated, which is absolutely coordinated. Did you guys see the Memeology video from a few days ago talking about the Patriot Front and all the fucking fuckery going on with that? Watch that. You know where I get my news now? John Talks and Memeology and Tim Pool and Crowder. And I go around to a lot of places. And from you guys, I don't turn on fucking mainstream news. I just turn it off. It's better for your brain. But that Memeology video is fascinating. They're all like getting in U-Haul trucks and they're protected by the cops. It's like, what's up with that? The Blaze for $5 says, honestly, at this point, I want Dr. Doom. I don't want Dr. Doom in the MCU. Seeing how they really, how they treat their characters and how badly it's written. I don't want to see the Fantastic Four. I don't want to see Dr. Doom. I don't want to see Namor. I don't. I just like, it's done. But you know what you're going to get? You're going to get what we're getting with the DCEU. The DCEU. The DCEU is going to have race-swapped derivative characters. So we're going to have a race-swapped Fantastic Four, a race-swapped Namor when I think Namor should be Asian. I've always thought he looked Asian to me. I think he should be played by an Asian dude. Never saw Namor as a white dude. We're going to get a multicultural Fantastic Four, You mean pretty much not the comic books. Not the comic books. When you're adapting something, you need to adapt it correctly, not some version of it. Oh, but we got to tell stories to be more inclusive. Okay, fine. Go like make all the original stories you want with all the inclusivity and diversity you want. But when you're adapting something and you want the fan base to show up, you got to adapt it properly, or we're going to call it out. We're going to go, well, it's obvious tokenism. Because the Fantastic Four are white, and it's supposed to be like we're not supposed to say anything. We're supposed to sit there and not say anything. The Fantastic Four is white. The Fantastic Four is white. Doesn't make you a fucking racist. It's a fact. And what Marvel will probably do is change their race in the comic books 6 months before the movie comes out and goes, they did it in the comic books. Fuck off. If you change the comic books to make it more adaptable to the movies, which is what a Marvel representative told me they were going to do back in 2010 at a retail summit, and they're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. It was a pure accident. I sold my comic shop in 2013 because I relapsed. It was a fucking, it was pretty well-timed relapse. It wasn't great, believe me, But since then, my life has gotten a lot better, and I don't have to sell fucking bad comic books because I don't know how I would have done it. Is James Gunn super woke? Asks Jake Benoist for $9.99. I couldn't believe how cringe Peacemaker is, and the adulation of the first 3 episodes by many is mind-blowing. Yes, James Gunn is super woke. SJW woke. Held in check for Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014. I thought Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was okay. But other stuff he's come out with, you know, and just like look at what the fucker joked about on Twitter. And then look what, you know, he had Trump derangement syndrome too. But, I mean, the Peacemaker, it's every time something has a white male lead, it's got to be balanced out by 4 women. 3 of them have to be of color. 1 has to be LGBTQ+. You can tell they checked boxes, and a bunch of people are going, oh, we can't point that. Again, I'm going to fucking point it out. As far as the black female character being a lesbian, she's not the worst thing in it. She's fine. She's fine as an actress. She doesn't stand out, and she isn't terrible. She reads her lines very competently, and I will not remember it in a week. I will not remember her, what she said, what she did, because she did her job competently, but not extraordinary, which is what you want to do when you're making art, when you're making a TV show. All I know is there's a fucking Karen. There's the from the last movie who I didn't like then, and I didn't like now, but she was barely in the movie, and now she's like a big part of this series. And of course, she's in a bar and she beats up a guy, and there's white supremacists, and they like checked all the boxes, and it was right there. And it's so fucking obvious. It's just, oh, James Gunn did it. We got to pretend it didn't happen. But it's not the box checking that bothered me. What bothered me is the box checking was the priority over telling a good story. James Gunn can tell a good story. I have seen it, a very good story, and he's better than most. So that's why some of the stuff was, I mean, there was moments that I thought were funny, that I thought worked, but the vast majority of moments that didn't work with unlikable characters totally derails the show. Peacemaker, you're trying to make him sympathize. So Peacemaker is the most interesting character in the show. You're not supposed to like the Peacemaker. He's like a fucking murderous motherfucker. But then, of course, they bad dad, white supremacist. I'm like, is that all you fucking got, Hollywood? Really? And it's like, of course, I'm going to state the obvious now. White supremacy is bad. It's just not this prevalent thing that Hollywood wants it to be, that the left wants it to be, that they need it to be to help to help reinforce their bullshit fucking narratives. We don't have mean tweets. We have a president who shits his pants and can't fucking talk. Our inflation is now at post-Carter levels. You know, when Reagan just took office, 1980 fucking 2. Gas is more expensive than ever. And none of the preventative measures taken against the coup are working. But we have to pretend they do. No, we don't. The answer is no. I will not participate in your fantasies. My freedom will not be subject to your fear. I will not participate in your fantasies. And I will not ignore your lies. Fuck that shit. I ain't playing. Opinionated Junkie says, people, in my opinion, need to move on from Star Wars. I heard plenty of that too, and that's where I was at. is I think there is a bigger fight with Marvel right now. I think Star Wars is done as a brand. Like, even if they turn it around, we're just covering that. That's kind of why I backed off of Star Trek. I'm not off it completely. No. It's a time. I've only got so much time. You see, I don't have a staff of writers. I can't divide and conquer. I need to pick what subject I feel is the most important to me that week. And it wasn't Star Trek Discovery. It wasn't a Doctor Who fucking story, which is usually my bread and butter here. No, it's been Marvel lately. I think Marvel is the most interesting thing because we have tangible evidence that it failed. That woke entertainment failed. That it stopped in its tracks the juggernaut franchise Marvel. And the golden boy, Kevin Feige, I started going after him. Kathleen Kennedy's a powerful woman. It goes way beyond Disney Star Wars. She obviously has no fucking idea what she's doing. They're going to give her another award. She is completely incompetent. She remains incompetent and in power. Jon Favreau is a company man who will not speak up for people like Gina Carano. And he was very good at getting something started, but he's not very good at continuing it. Boba Fett sounds like a complete disaster. It sounds like something that would be awfully fun to pick apart, okay? And easy to pick apart. But, sometimes, you look to people like the Mary Sue or that woman on Twitter to correctly describe the entertainment. Boba Fett is a shifting of power structures in George Lucas's Star Wars because George Lucas's Star Wars was a white savior story filled with racism. That's what she said. In no other and there's no other way to put it. That's what she said. George Lucas's Star Wars was a white savior story with racism and colonialism and all that bullshit. All that fucking Marxist university CRT bullshit. That's what Disney's fixing. What's Peacemaker? Edgy comedy for people who vote for Beto O'Rourke. That's the only analogy. As again, your boy Zach's was better. I'm going to read it again on the way out because I got to go. Thanks for being here. I could not have said it better myself. I made it 19 minutes and 4 seconds into the time capsule of everything that hipsters thought was funny, edgy in 2008. That's Peacemaker. And I added the scripts were stained with triple lattes and rewrites. And this is something that the Venture Brothers and the Tick in all incarnations, every version of the TV show, the cartoon and the comic, has done better, much, much better, with more love and more heart. So what does the Peacemaker have that the Suicide Squad doesn't have? Heart. Characters suck. You can tell there's a disdain. There's an underlying disdain for traditional heroes, for this country. You could just feel it permeating from the script. Yeah, I thought it was cringe. And more importantly, the humor is cringe. Humor was cringe. All right. WG for $100. Half tokenism sucks. There is no reason to gender swap characters. The 60s had Emma Peel, a smart, beautiful, and strong woman. And it also had Batgirl, played by Yvonne Craig. And Storm was introduced in the 70s. And it's such bullshit. And you're not progressing anything by racially swapping a character. Now, it depends on the character. If it doesn't have a long-lasting impact, whatever. Daredevil is white. Batman is white. Commissioner Gordon is white because Batgirl is white. Sometimes I miss the way you said China. I'll always say it like that. Thank you, Bree247I for $5. And thank you, WG, for $100. Hail to you, sir. Hail to you, sir. Grape Milenko says, Marvel and DC need to embrace the Ninja Voodoo Wizard juggalos and put out some dope moves. They need to put out some dope stories. What they have is, it's just gone on too long. Disney has taken over Marvel. So what they're, Devil's Reign, I mean, we're revisiting events that weren't good in the first place or were mediocre. So we're, Civil War 2, and they're just doing everything fucking over again. Marvel hasn't told a seminal classic story in years. And I mean 10 years. 10 fucking years. That's a problem. They've relied on variants. They've relied on printing graphic novels, which they have now overprinted, and you can find fucking graphic novels for cheap now. Like, who's paying cover price for a graphic novel? Who in the fuck is paying cover price for a graphic novel? It's very sad. I am buying Bronze Age books. That's it. I'm buying Bronze Age books. I have this crazy little goal of mine collecting because that was my era as a kid, right? Bronze Age goes to the mid 80s for me. I have a lot of good 90s books too, but right now my whole focus on collecting is to the Bronze Age. Having all kinds of fun doing it, and it's pretty cheap. I'm doing it. Bree247I says, I need near mint copies of Werewolf by Night 33 and 37. Just bought Werewolf by Night 32 at the last Comic Connection auction. Awesome. I've got them all. They're not for sale yet, though. Not yet. Not yet, my man or woman. Sorry. Life Eric, thank you for the $20. I appreciate it. And John Bartolo, I will be in touch with you. Okay. I will pick up the Lee Tesby for $20. Says, Gary, you're an awesome stand-up guy. I'm glad. I read that one already. Thank you, Lee. Okay, I'm out. I got to go. Tune in tonight, 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. If you miss it, it's going to stay up on Nerdrotic Live, so you'll be able to go back and watch, and I'll answer the rest of these questions. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to the Modrotics. Thank you to everyone who's just hung out with me today. I appreciate it. Big announcements to come for the Nerdrotic Nooner. There's going to be a time change. It will be way more consistent. Thanks to the help I'm bringing in. And stuff has already started. The studio is being put together. And Quarter Black is going to go and help. I can't wait to see my house for the first time, other than through a phone. Got a lot of plans. I will be live tomorrow on this channel, 10 a.m. Pacific time, with Heel versus Babyface, Mahler, the Longman, and Nina Infinity. And who knows who else will show up. And we're going to talk about probably the Peacemaker a lot more, and Joss Whedon in depth. I didn't go over the article. We're going to go over the article tomorrow because I think I hope that Mahler and I will have a very balanced discussion about Joss Whedon, because I know people just fucking hate him, and I don't like him. I just like some of the work he did back, and nothing's going to change that. But I don't think I'd root for the guy in the future, and I wouldn't be looking for any of his new work. But I think we'll have a discussion. We'll have a discussion about it, and I look forward to that. Let's see. Is there anybody else streaming right now? We want to raid. Let me see. Let me see. No, Gothix is streaming. Chatting with Abel Garcia, a detransitioner. That looks pretty good. So Gothix is streaming right now. She's the only one. And we're going to talk about the BBC tomorrow on the Real BBC. The BBC getting shut down. Az just made a video. You can go check that out. That came out 39 minutes ago. Rip off. Pay $220 to see. Fucking yeah. Jodie Whittaker and Mandeep Gill are charging £220, $300 to get an autograph with them. Remember, if you've been around this channel for a long time, I went off on Christopher Eccleston. Got a lot of criticism for it. But Christopher Eccleston ignored the fandom for a decade. And then when he came back, he had his fucking hand out. He had his motherfucking hand out. His first act to come back to the fandom of Doctor Who was to charge for autographs. And I fucking went off on him at New York Comic Con. Oh, fuck you, dude. You should come back for free the first time and then charge. But at the time, it was $90. Fucking the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen, and Do Nothing Yaz, together for an autograph, $300. The women who destroyed Doctor Who pay $300 to get their autograph. I challenge somebody, and I will pay your autograph if you can get her to autograph the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen. If you can get that signed by Jodie, I will pay you back for your autograph. Fuck that. What a ripoff. What bullshit. Yes. So we will discuss the rest. We will discuss the rest tomorrow. And then I don't know if there'll be a Nooner on Wednesday because I did one today. I got to record them videos too. Got to get stuff together. So just keep an eye on the community section and Twitter. And for one more time, Nerdrotic Live tonight, 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you, X-Ray Girl. Thank you, Coda Black. Thank you, Perry Chan. Thank you, Mrs. Nerdrotic. And thank you, everyone out there. Remember, not all who wander are lost. And may the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Nerdrotic.com.
Thank you, Just Another Red Shirt. Thank you, Jennifer Cisco. Thank you, Chris Persia. Seeing who else is in there. Look at those Nerdrotics. Look at them working hard for nothing. A little thank you at the end.
Do not
Thanks to
come.
everyone in the chat. Friends.
Do not come.
I'm going to come.